Don't leave. I know you saw vodka and cocktail together, but I promise you today we are going to make and drink the greatest vodka cocktail ever, of all time. And it's not just a good vodka cocktail, it's just a great cocktail, period. And if you really don't like vodka, there's no worries, because we are going to fundamentally change this vodka, which is why this drink is so good. The recipe today is from Liquid Intelligence by Dave Arnold. If you aren't familiar, Liquid Intelligence is one of the preeminent cocktail science books. If you are really into cocktails and trying new and interesting techniques, then this is the book for you. Or let's say you have an amazing idea that you think will change everything in the cocktail world. Chances are pretty good that it's already been done by Dave Arnold. The Tea Time is his take on an alcoholic version of the Arnold Palmer, which is of course half part lemonade, half part iced tea, and we'll be using some old school techniques to make this as well. But don't be too worried, it's actually very simple. The first thing we need to understand is milk clarification versus milk washing. Milk clarification is a process that has been used for hundreds of years to clarify cocktails. There are countless videos on YouTube, and the process is pretty simple. You make yourself a cocktail with an acid, like a citrus, and after mixing your ingredients together, you add milk. That milk will curdle, and once strained, you're left with a clear liquid that removes many of the tannins, impurities, and the solids from your drink. It doesn't taste like milk, but some of the milk proteins are left behind, which can aid in frothing. Now, Ben Franklin was known to do this and had recipes for milk clarified punches, and this was pretty common in the 1700s, especially with rum. And if you consider how harsh rum was back then, it makes sense. It also provided a way to make a cocktail or a punch that would be somewhat shelf stable. So if they had a cocktail with a citrus in it, they could store that and keep it during the wintertime when citrus may not be available to them. Milk washing, on the other hand, is when we take milk and add it to our base spirit. So instead of making a complete punch or cocktail and then clarifying it, we're clarifying our spirit, which we'll then use later as we would any other spirit to make cocktails. So why do we need to do this? Isn't the point of vodka that it's already pretty much clarified and has no flavor? Well, yes, but today we'll be infusing our vodka with tea, essentially making it not vodka. And if we don't milk wash it, then we'll be left with all of the tannins from the tea, making this drink very unpleasant. Dave Arnold makes a liter version, so I have modified this to 500 milliliters. The reason is while this will last, especially in the refrigerator, from my knowledge, I believe the properties in the milk wash vodka that help create that foamy drink will dissipate over time. And I'm not going to need a full liter of this anytime soon, so we will have the recipe. For this recipe, you will need vodka, tea, lemon juice, 125 milliliters of milk, coffee filter, cheesecloth, or another way to strain this. We're going to start by putting 500 milliliters of vodka into a container. Next, we're going to add 16 grams of tea. Now, Dave calls for the second flush Darjeeling tea, which is not readily available to me, and I've made this a few times with different teas, and I'll just be using a black tea. Just pick something that you would enjoy as an iced tea with lemons. And we're gonna let this steep for 30 minutes. All right, it's been steeping now for 30 minutes. It's okay if you go longer here because we are going to milk wash this, so it is going to get out any of those tannins and those sort of bitter compounds in our mix. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to filter this out. All right, while this finishes, we're gonna add 125 milliliters to a larger container. A container large enough to hold the volume of your tea as well as the milk. All right, next add your tea to your milk. Now it is important to do it this way. We want to add our tea to our milk and not our milk to our tea. Now that our vodka and milk are combined, we're gonna just let this sit for 2 minutes. All right, 2 minutes is up. We're gonna take half an ounce of lemon juice and slowly add it into our milk tea mixture. This will not add any flavor, but it will increase the curdling that we're gonna need to clarify this vodka. The mixture's already starting to curdle. You can see there's some separation there. And now we are going to sit here and wait for 2 hours, and then we're going to strain it. So it's been 2 hours, and I promise if you're doing this, this is well worth the effort. So now we're going to strain this through a coffee filter. tea is strained and it is ready to go. The process does take a little longer than you might think, especially if you're using a coffee filter. So if you need to do things quicker, just swap out your coffee filters. So exchange them if you can, because your filter will get clogged and it will take a little bit longer. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to transfer this to a container that we will store it in. And there you go, your Dave Arnold milk washed tea vodka, which we will now use to make the best vodka cocktail I've ever had, tea time. We're gonna build this in a small shaker tin with 2 ounces of our tea-infused vodka, half an ounce of honey syrup, that's 1 part honey to 1 part water, half an ounce of strained lemon juice, so we want to make sure there's no pulp in this. Then I'm going to add in 2 drops of a saline solution or a tiny pinch of salt. Saline solutions are typically 80% water, 20% salt. We're going to add ice to our tin, and I'm going to add 1 large ice cube and then crack 1 other ice cube. And the reason I do this is because Dave Arnold says you should. It's one of the things he has tested in Liquid Intelligence. And you're going to shake this for 10 to 15 seconds to get it extra frothy. We're going to serve this one in a coupe. No garnish for this one. And there you go. Tea Time by Dave Arnold. So let's taste this one. So a couple things first. I typically don't like vodka. Typically, I'm not a huge fan of drinks that are heavily honey. So things that are sweetened only or mainly by honey. And this is both of those, and I love this drink. And I think if you've ever thought about an alcoholic Arnold Palmer, it sounds easy. I've tried it before in the past. It's not always easy. You have to find that right mix of balance with your sweet and with your acid. And in here, it just works so well. The tea, it's very forward. You can definitely taste the tea. So the tea you're using is important. Then your lemon and your honey just like make this perfect mixture of alcoholic Arnold Palmer. It's just one of the best vodka cocktails I've ever had. I mean, it's the best. I don't know what's left to say about this one. It just kind of works. And I know it does take a little extra effort to go through the steps of making your own vodka and clarifying it, but it is well worth it. And people are gonna love this. So there you have it, the Tea Time from Dave Arnold, or as I like to call it, Dave Arnold Palmer. Get it? It's another dad joke. Cheers. All right, that's it for this one. I'm Derek. This is Make and Drink. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Otherwise, see you on the next one. I haven't been doing this forever, but I've probably done 35, 40 episodes and haven't finished a drink yet. I think that says everything you need to know.